Hi everybody, and welcome to the absolutely amazing world of Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. Now I'm playing this on my Xbox Series S in 2024, and this game has been out since 2007. But in this video I just wanted to discuss briefly what Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl is, what type of game it is, go through some of the gameplay elements to kind of hopefully encourage you to have a crack on this game, or at least put it on your radar as something that you should consider playing, especially if, kind of a bit like me, you probably treated Stalker as a game that you were aware of in terms of, you know, this is in video game history, and I understand that it's related to things like DayZ, and many other games like the Metro series and stuff like that. But maybe even being a little bit, I don't know if intimidated is the wrong word, but the idea of, well, I don't really know what it's about, it's very old, should I really be kind of giving it a go? So where I am now, I'm in this industrial area, and I'm just returning from what you would have thought would have been a simple task, which was to find a rifle that someone had lost that was very important to them and take it back to them. But on the way I've got into all sorts of shenanigans, got into a gunfight with a load of soldiers, failed to rescue some scientists who then got killed, and now I'm going to make my way back to the bar where this chap is. And this kind of sums up a lot of what Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl is about, and what happens, in the fact that the story might seem to be fairly simple, and what the game asks you to do might be fairly simple, but because of the amazing way that the AI and the different tasks kind of interfere with each other, I guess is a word I could use, you have all these dynamic gameplay elements that come into play, which make it, even though it's a really old game, fantastic and fascinating to play. So let's take a little bit of a step backwards, and let me bring up the map to give you an idea of kind of what's kind of happening here. So the idea is that we're in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Here's Chernobyl up here. It's kind of round about our timeline, but what happened was there was the initial Chernobyl explosion, and then they put the sarcophagus, big concrete cap over the top of it. But then there was a second explosion, and all these strange and mysterious artifacts started appearing in and around the exclusion zone. So this whole economy of stalkers has happened, where people get inside the exclusion zone, get past the army, and then, you know, try and find their fame and fortune inside this area, finding these special things, and generally trying to, you know, joining clans or avoiding the clans, avoiding the army, avoiding all the different mutant animals and strange things that go on, and anomalies that may well crush you and kill you that way. And you wake up, and you wake up. You wake up kind of on the edge of the exclusion zone, not knowing who you are. It's that kind of classic adventure story trope where you're then taken to someone who says, okay, I don't know who you are, but I kind of believe in you, and I'm going to give you some tasks to get you started. So you start off with like a pistol and not much else, and then as you move on you kind of get more powerful. As you can see here, I've got numerous different types of weapons and gadgets and things like that to follow the storyline through, and most of the areas that you visit are pretty much open, like an open world. It's not truly open world like something like DayZ or Cyberpunk, where you can just walk from one place to other. There are loading points, but when you get into a large area, you can choose to complete that task or that mission or that quest in however you want, really, in terms of the direction that you want to attack it. Generally, everything revolves and descends into shooting. Lots of people. I've tried stealth a little bit, and that didn't always work very well. But the shooting is very good, despite it being an old game, and okay, it's a little bit janky. The shooting I've found very enjoyable, and kind of, although it's not quite up there with something like DayZ, for the time, it really is very cool indeed, and the guns all feel, you know, weighty, and it is deadly as well. Even though I'm playing this game on novice level, if I run into an NPC and he unloads a magazine into me, that's it, I'm dead. So you're going to be doing lots of save scumming, saving the game a lot to work your way through like that. There are some RPG elements to kind of level up your character, so you can get things like better suits, so that you're more protected from the elements, obviously better weapons, better meds. You also get these kind of things that you find near anomalies that you can attach to your belt. And what these things do is they'll give you protection against things like radiation or maybe explosions or gunfire. But often there's a cost. So although something might give you, let's say something like this, will give you gives you a weak protective field, it actually gives you radiation poisoning. So you've got to be careful. If you have a couple of these together, you're going to start to get severe radiation poisoning. But it may be well that you're going to go into a gunfight where you know you're outnumbered, so you'll use these to protect yourself against gunfire and explosions. But you'll make sure you've got plenty of anti-radiation meds, so you can be popping them as you're going along, to give yourself an advantage that way, which I think is pretty cool, and I quite like the way they've done it. It's not too sci-fi in my sort of opinion. The sort of games I would say, if you say, well, what's this really similar to, Rob? What can I think about in terms of games I've played that this would be like? Well, bearing in mind that this is from 2007, okay, I would say it's kind of similar to something like Cyberpunk 2077. If you've played that, you know how you have a main storyline that you progress through as you're playing the game, but you've got all the side quests that you can go off on, and often side quests are more interested in the main game. It's kind of like that, with that sort of open world side of it as well. It's a bit like, and this may be due to the kind of where we are in terms of the location, sort of Eastern Europe. It's kind of a bit like DayZ, but with stuff to do. Now you can eat stuff, but there isn't kind of the food and hydration mechanics and sickness mechanics that you get in DayZ. It's not that complicated, but you do get radiation poisoning and you do get hungry, so you do have to eat stuff that way. So it's a bit like that, like DayZ with tasks. It really is. I would call this like an adventure game, a shooter adventure game, which is mostly open world. If they made this today, remember Stalker 2 is coming out pretty shortly. Pretty sure that's probably going to be completely open world, maybe with loading screens in between different bits. I don't know, but it's fantastic, and I absolutely love it. And the more I play, the more I like it. When you first dive in and you're in the first open areas, you'll be looking at the graphics and you're probably going, well, this is a bit bland, this is a bit bare, this is a bit naff. But the deeper you go, and as soon as you start picking up sort of the better weapons, and you go into these more complicated areas like this, you suddenly start to think, oh, this isn't the game I thought it would. Now, another really cool element, as far as I'm concerned as well, is inventory management. Because there's always more loot that you'll find on dead bodies and in stashes in boxes than you can carry. So you've got to make those decisions, you know, what ammo have I got? What gun am I going to use? And the guns and the stuff does wear out as well over time. And, you know, you simply cannot carry everything. So at the moment, I've got to carry this shotgun, but I've got to really decide between this assault rifle and this AK assault rifle. And then I have my trusty submachine gun. But I'm starting to run out of ammo in my submachine gun. So then it's like, okay, so where do I go next? Am I going to use my pistol? How much pistol ammo have I got? How many grenades am I going to carry? And things. There's no magic boxes like you'd have in something like Resident Evil, where you can put stuff in and then find it further up the map. You know, if you leave something in a stash, which you can do, that's where it's going to be for the rest of the game. You know, there's no fast travel. You can't nip backwards and forwards. Are we about to get attacked? There's no fast travel. You can't suddenly nip backwards and forwards, get a load of... we haven't got much ammo left, have we? Okay, so there we go. So as you can see, my character's a bit hungry, so we need to eat now. So let's what should we have? Let's have some tourist delight. Let's have some salami. Let's have some bread. A couple of bits of bread. And there we go. See, I just chewed through a load of really nice ammo there for my AK. where I might well have been better off if I still had a I guess I have still got a shotgun, haven't I? But I haven't got any ammo for it. I would have been better off having that, because you don't want to start to try and be engaging enemies at medium range or long range with a shotgun. So you've got that kind of balance that you've got to do, and that decision that you've got to make. And there's no right answer to this sort of stuff. It's just a case of choosing a different weapon, which means you're going to have a different style of combat as you go through the game. So there we go. So hopefully people have listened to this, and you've listened to this and you've thought, oh, this sounds interesting. Stalker is a little bit simpler than I thought it would be. And maybe even if you've started the game and you've stopped it in the the opening areas because you're like, well, I don't really understand what I'm meant to be doing. Honestly, just keep working through the quests and the story, and then before you know it, you'll be in these more interesting areas where all of a sudden the story gets more interesting as well, and you'll be having an absolute whale of a time. So, Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl. You can get it on console, you get it on PlayStation, you get it on Xbox, the latest ones anyway. Highly worth playing. Oh god, here we go. These are snorks. These are gits. Where's he gone? Oh, there we look at this. Look at this horrible thing. Oh, God, dear me. I'm not quite sure where these have come from. Obviously, they used to be people. They're very Resident Evil, aren't they? Let's see if he's got anything on him. Often you'll find dead mutants will have like an eyeball or a bit of flesh on them that you can then take to a trader and sell for money. So there we go. I think I should probably leave it now. But definitely, if you haven't considered Stalker because you weren't really sure what it is about, Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, get it on PlayStation, get it on Xbox, get it on PC. You can normally pick it up really cheap and have a play. It's a shooter-based, semi-open world adventure game that I think you're going to fall in love with, especially if you're a fan of DayZ. That's enough from me. See you again soon.